So let's talk about Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life. This book, it's not just a story, right? It's really an investigation. It asks this huge question. If everyone has their own version of what happened, how do you even begin to find the truth? And that's exactly what we're going to dive into.
And the book just hooks you, right from the very first line. This single sentence, it basically lays out the entire roadmap for what we're about to get into. It's this promise, a promise that whatever you think you know, well, that's only a tiny piece of the puzzle.
I mean, we all kind of live with this, right? There's the person we are out in public, and then there's the real us, living our private reality. The novel takes that idea and just blows it up to a massive scale. It uses this one super famous family as a case study to show you just how huge that gap can get.
Okay, so let's meet our main subject. Her name is Margaret Grace Ives, and she's an heiress to this giant media empire. She used to be a huge celebrity. They called her the tabloid princess. But then, decades ago, poof, she just vanished from the public eye. And now she's finally ready to tell her story.
You gotta understand, the Ives family wasn't just rich, they were a full-blown dynasty, and their power was built on headlines. We're talking over 100 years of history, starting with a gold rush fortune and morphing into this massive media empire. Their lives were basically public property, so imagine being born into that world of intense, constant scrutiny. That's the stage where our whole story unfolds.
And this is where the official story immediately starts to fall apart. See, the public story is that the family patriarch, Lawrence Ives, was this cold-blooded, ruthless tycoon. But Margaret's version? Completely different. It's a story about a desperate brother trying to save his sister. It's about sacrifice. And just like that, boom, the entire family history you thought you knew gets turned on its head.
And this same conflict, public versus private, totally defined Margaret's own life. Take her famous marriage to Cosmo. The press, the same media her family owned, by the way, painted it like this unfolding tragedy. But in private, it was a real love story, one that was just buckling under the pressure of being watched all the time.
But here's the thing, Margaret isn't going to tell this story by herself. Oh no, she hires two different biographers to basically compete for the chance to write it. And this sets up this intense professional rivalry that, you guessed it, gets way more complicated and way more personal really fast. So let's meet our two writers. On one side, you have Alice Scott. She's all about empathy, about letting the person's own voice lead the way. On the other side, Hayden Anderson. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner, super serious, and believes a biographer's job is to find the cold, hard, objective truth. They are polar opposites in how they think a story should be told. And yeah, their personalities clash right away. It's actually pretty funny. Hayden, being all guarded and serious, asks her why she's so interested in his past, and Alice just fires back with this zinger. It's such a perfect little moment that captures their whole dynamic. You can feel that spark between them from the get-go. But then, things start to change. There's this one tiny moment. Hayden is introducing her to someone, a server, I think, and he calls her his friend. Just that one little word, but it's huge. It signals this major shift, They're not just competitors anymore. Something else is happening. Of course, it's not going to be that easy. Their professional rivalry is the biggest roadblock to their romance. Hayden really draws a line in the sand. And this creates this amazing tension, right? Because they have rivals trying to win the same job, but they're also clearly falling for each other. It's so good. So, while Alice and Hayden are figuring out whatever is happening between them, Alice starts to get this feeling. She realizes that Margaret's story, it's not just about correcting some old tabloid rumors. No, there's something deeper going on, a much more urgent mystery that Margaret needs them to solve. And that really becomes the central question for the rest of the book. What is Margaret really hiding? Suddenly, this isn't just a biography anymore. It's a full-on investigation, a hunt for a secret that has been, like, poisoning this family for generations. And the clues just start piling up. This weird name, Nicolette, keeps popping up everywhere. They find out about a huge family secret involving Margaret's grandfather, Gerald. They learn the true, heartbreaking story of her sister, Laura. There's even a mosaic with a hidden path in it. Every new clue they uncover points to the same thing. The official story isn't just wrong. It's a lie, a deliberate cover-up. And then you get the big twist. Margaret says she doesn't just want them to write her version of the story. She wants them to find the truth. the real, objective truth that's buried somewhere between yours and mine. And that just changes everything. The project goes from biography to full-on detective work.
So, what's the big takeaway here? I think the book is arguing that every story we tell, big or small, is really just a collection of choices. It's about what we choose to put in, and maybe more importantly, what we choose to leave out. What we hide to protect ourselves or to protect the people we care about.
And that brings us right back to where we started, the Ives media empire. They got rich off of what Margaret calls simple and salacious stories. Think about it. It was basically clickbait before clicking was even a thing. The book does such a great job of showing how those easy, cheap headlines can just completely wipe out the complex, messy, beautiful truth of who someone really is.
At the end of the day, digging up all these family secrets isn't just about fixing the past. It's about the future. It's about freedom. Finding the truth doesn't just give Margaret peace. It actually gives Alice and Hayden a shot at building a future together, a future that isn't shadowed by all the lies that have haunted this family for so long.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about for ourselves. Every family, every single one of us has these stories, right? There's the public version we tell, the private one we live, and then there's the truth that's probably somewhere in the middle. So the question is, which version do you tell?